If your mornings look responsible, water, a reasonable breakfast, maybe a walk if there is time, and your body still is not responding the way you expected, this is for you. Not because you are not trying, because nobody ever told you that the number on the scale is not primarily a food problem, it is a morning hormone problem, one that gets decided in the first 60 minutes after you wake up, before you have made a single food choice all day, before the breakfast, before the gym. In Japan, a country where obesity rates sit at approximately 4% compared to over 40% in the United States. That 60-minute window is treated as the most important hour of the entire day. Not because Japanese people know more about nutrition or have access to better food, because they never stopped practicing 5 specific things in the morning that most of the world quietly abandoned. 5 habits, all of them free, all of them possible before most people have poured their first cup of coffee. And one of them, the last one, is going to change how you look at every other habit on this list, because skipping it quietly cancels out the other 4 every single morning without you ever knowing it is happening. Stay with me until the end. And there is a specific mistake almost everyone makes with their very first glass of water in the morning. Not whether to drink it, how. I will get to that 1 second. Let us go through all 5. Habit 1, the first thing that touches your body in the morning, and the temperature most people get completely wrong. There is a woman in Nagoya who wakes at 6:07 every morning, before her phone, before the kettle goes on. She fills a small glass with warm water from the tap, adds a pinch of sea salt from the ceramic dish beside the sink, and drinks it, standing at the kitchen window, looking at the street below. She has done this for 19 years. She is 61 years old. Her waist measurement has not changed in over a decade. Here is the science underneath that habit. After 7 or 8 hours of sleep with zero fluid intake, you wake up in a quiet state of dehydration. Your liver, the organ primarily responsible for metabolizing stored body fat, runs at measurably reduced efficiency in that dehydrated state. A dehydrated liver cannot process fat effectively. This is documented hepatic physiology. And here is what most people do at exactly that moment. They reach for coffee. Dr. Andrew Huberman at Stanford's neuroscience program has described hitting a dehydrated, already cortisol-rising body with immediate caffeine as pouring fuel on a fire that is already lit. Your natural cortisol awakening response is climbing regardless of what you do in those first minutes. Caffeine pushes that spike higher and keeps it elevated longer. An elevated morning cortisol is one of the most clearly documented hormonal drivers of fat storage around the midsection. This is not about coffee being bad. It is about sequence. The body you hand coffee to at 6:07 is a different body from the one you hand it to at 7:45, after hydration and morning light. Japan's answer is warm water first, not cold. Warm, it signals the digestive system to come back online gently rather than being startled into it. A pinch of sea salt replaces the sodium and magnesium the body processes overnight, and magnesium specifically acts as the body's natural brake on the cortisol system. A study from the University of Alabama found that 500 milligrams of vitamin C, the amount in half a lemon, significantly blunted cortisol spikes following a stress event. Add it to the water if you have it. The warm water and the salt are the foundation. The lemon is the refinement. One quick note. If cold water is genuinely what gets you drinking first thing, cold water is still dramatically better than no water. Warm is the optimization. Hydration first is the non-negotiable. Tonight, leave a glass on your kitchen counter where you will see it before you see anything else tomorrow. Warm water, sea salt, before the coffee, before the phone. That is habit 1. Habit 2. The specific mistake with that same glass of water, the one I promised you at the beginning. Most people who start drinking morning water drink it in 2 or 3 large gulps, standing at the sink, already thinking about the next thing they need to do. It is not wrong exactly. It is just leaving most of the benefit on the counter. When you drink a large volume of water quickly, a significant portion moves through the digestive system faster than the intestinal lining can meaningfully absorb it. The organs that need hydration most urgently in the morning, the liver, the kidneys, the cellular tissue, receive less than they would from the same volume consumed slowly. Small sips, over 3 to 4 minutes, give your body time to actually absorb and distribute what you are giving it. People who change this one thing consistently report noticing it within 3 to 4 days. Less morning bloating, less of that heavy, sluggish feeling in the first 40 minutes after waking. 3 to 4 minutes. Small sips. Ideally standing somewhere with natural light beginning to come in, which brings us to what comes next. Because the first 2 habits work entirely at an internal level. Habit 3 is where the outside world starts doing some of the metabolic work for you. Habit 3, what your eyes need in the first 30 minutes of daylight, and why it has nothing to do with willpower. Within the first 30 to 60 minutes of actual daylight, your eyes need real outdoor light. Not through a window, not from a screen. Outside, where the full spectrum of natural light reaches your retina without being filtered by glass. Your body runs on an internal biological clock, the circadian rhythm that governs when every major hormone is released, when metabolism peaks, when fat is burned versus stored, and when cortisol rises and falls. That clock is calibrated and reset every morning by one input above everything else: light entering the eyes. Dr. Satchin Panda at the Salk Institute has spent over 20 years studying this mechanism. His research is consistent across thousands of subjects. People who miss morning light exposure show measurably disrupted cortisol curves, impaired metabolic regulation, and higher visceral fat accumulation than those who receive consistent morning light. Morning light triggers serotonin production during the day. That serotonin becomes the raw material for melatonin at night. Melatonin produces the deep sleep that produces a calm, well-regulated cortisol curve the following morning. And a calm cortisol curve produces a lower fat storage signal for the entire day that follows. One 5-minute action is quietly determining the hormonal environment of the next 24 hours. Now, for those of you who wake up before sunrise with no outdoor light available, this habit is not tied to your alarm. It is tied to daylight. The moment the sun is up, step outside for 5 minutes. Your circadian system will process the signal whenever it arrives. In Japan, this shows up naturally as the sanpo, the short, unhurried morning walk to a station, a shrine, or a corner store, not taken for fitness, taken because it is simply how the morning begins. 5 to 10 minutes outside, phone in the pocket, eyes open. That is habit 3. Now, I want to be honest with you about habit 4, the one most people find genuinely difficult, not because it requires effort, but because it requires going against something automatic that most of us have been doing since childhood. Habit 4. eating slowly enough for your body to actually tell you when to stop. Your brain registers fullness approximately 20 minutes after your stomach has received sufficient food. Not immediately. 20 minutes after. If you eat at the pace most of us were raised with, fork rarely leaving the hand, plate expected to be finished, you can take in significantly more than your body needed in that 20-minute gap before the satiety signal even arrives. Every meal, every day, for years. This is not a character failing. It is a mismatch between biological timing and social conditioning. Research on Okinawa, the Japanese island with one of the highest concentrations of centenarians on Earth, consistently identifies not a specific diet, but a specific relationship with eating as the primary factor distinguishing the Okinawan body. The practice is called Hara, Hachi, Bu. Eat to 80% full. Stop before the signal arrives, not in response to it. Here is the technique that makes this workable. Halfway through every meal, put your utensil completely down. Take 3 slow breaths. Ask yourself one question. If I stopped right now, would I feel genuinely fine in 20 minutes? That 3-breath pause gives the satiety signal, already traveling toward your brain, enough time to arrive before you have eaten past the point it was trying to tell you about. I will be honest. When the food is genuinely good, this is hard. It will probably be hard for you too. But here is what that gap between knowing and practicing is costing. 300 calories per meal on average, according to a University of New Mexico study comparing attentive versus distracted eating. 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, from pace and presence alone. No dietary change, no restriction. Halfway point, utensil down, 3 breaths, 1 honest question. That is the entire practice. And now, habit 5, the one I told you about at the very beginning. The one that quietly undoes everything else on this list if you skip it. Habit 5, 30 minutes of not touching your phone after you wake up. Here is what happens to your hormonal state when you check your phone in the first minutes of the morning. Each notification, each headline, each incoming message triggers a small paired spike, cortisol and dopamine arriving together. In less than 5 minutes of morning scrolling, your nervous system shifts from the calm, naturally settling state of first waking into a reactive, alert, externally stimulated state. Dr. Anna Lemke at Stanford, whose research on dopamine and compulsive behavior is among the most widely cited in psychiatry, has documented that this kind of early repeated stimulation raises the brain's baseline dopamine threshold for the rest of the day. Your nervous system now requires more input, more urgency, just to feel normal, more cortisol sustained across more hours, more fat storage signal running longer. Your phone at 6 a.m. does not just disrupt your mood. It undoes the warm water. It undoes the morning light. It undoes the slow breakfast. It fires the cortisol system before any of the first 4 habits have had the chance to complete the work they were doing. The 4 habits before this one are building something. Habit 5 is the decision to not knock it down. 30 minutes, that is all. The decision that the first 30 minutes of your day belong to you before they belong to anyone else's notifications, news, or demands. Tonight, move your phone charger to the other side of the room, not as a punishment, as the removal of a decision from tomorrow morning. When the phone is not within arm's reach, when your eyes open, you do not have to choose not to look at it. That choice has already been made by the version of you who moved the charger tonight. 5 habits, all free, all available tomorrow morning. Warm water, sipped slowly near a window before the coffee. Small sips over 3 to 4 minutes so your body can actually absorb it. 5 to 10 minutes of real outdoor light during the first available daylight. Eating to 80% full, utensil down at the halfway point. 3 breaths before deciding whether to continue. And 30 minutes where your morning belongs to you before it belongs to the world. These are not hacks you follow for 2 weeks and abandon. They are the ordinary daily architecture of a body that was never asked to fight itself in the first place. Japan did not discover any of this recently. It simply never stopped doing it, while most of the world built an industry around the problems that stopping created. The woman in Nagoya at 6:07, with her glass of warm water at the kitchen window, has not been practicing a health protocol for 19 years. She has been having her morning. The same morning her mother had. The same morning her grandmother had. In the same kitchen. Watching the same street come alive below the same window. She does not call this discipline. She does not think about it at all. It is simply what mornings look like from where she is standing. If your body has not been responding the way you expected, that was never proof you were not trying hard enough. It was proof that nobody had given you the actual information yet. You have it now. One question before you go, and I genuinely want your answer in the comments. Of these 5 habits, which one landed differently than the others? Not the most interesting one. The one that felt less like new information and more like something you already knew and had simply never heard said out loud. Tell me the number, 1 through 5. I read every single comment. And if this changed how you think about what your body actually needs in that first 60 minutes of the day, share it with one person in your life who has been working hard and running out of explanations for why nothing is moving. The answer may be simpler than either of you thought. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.